going on, Minnesota Viking fans? Welcome to the Purple People Podcast. This is episode 561. Risner is back. Risner, however you want to say it. The internet wins again. Guys, it happened. They bullied the GM 2 years in a row to sign a player. This is amazing.
We bullied him the first time around. This time, they made an effort to be like, no, the market is going to dictate what kind of contract we sign you to. And we did not have to pay an arm and a leg to bring back Dalton Risner.
Yeah, I did not see the details of it. How much did they end up paying?
So I have it here from Kevin Seifert. A source you should trust about the Vikings, looking at all you morons that believe internet rumors and then promote them on your shows. Veteran guard Dalton Risner is re-signing with the Vikings on a 1-year deal. They re-signed backup offensive line Blake Randall to 3.25. So don't have the money here yet.
Yeah, I have not seen the numbers.
Well, we can make up numbers. That's what the media does now. What do you guys think? We'll just make it up and report it as a fact, and then just whatever.
Because you got to assume with how long it took to get signed that he was looking for something a little more lucrative and long-term, which I don't blame him. But even coming back to Minnesota for another year, he comes and plays well. He could get a nice deal next year.
Yeah, he was drafted in 2019, so he's not old by any stretch of the imagination. He had some injury concerns along the way, but the cool thing that I had seen over the internet today through Twitter and wherever else is Adam and I, welcome back, Kyle. Adam and I did the show last week. Kyle, I'm glad you didn't get sucked up into a fucking tornado last week. Adam and I were talking about no, it's not about your health and welfare. We need you on the show, so don't be like, sure, we're talking about how this is the first time since 2015 that they've kept the same offensive and defensive coordinator and head coach. And it's been like, 8 years, 9 years? And now they're going to keep the same offensive line 2 years in a row, which is really good because, I feel like right when Jefferson got drafted, we were looking like, all right, he's a superstar, but the line was still really shaky in the middle. And I think we all agree we like, but we're not in love with Garrett Bradbury at center. We could always take an upgrade, but he's fine for now. He hasn't really been that much of a liability. He's improved a little bit. But to keep that core and then to add better players, like at running back, keeping your other players from last year that did really well offensively, I think this is a good sign. And I'm glad there's not musical chairs going on where you've got to protect the quarterback and make lanes for the new running back that is – I think he's going to be a major upgrade, but we'll talk about it.
Speaking of that, we kind of got to talk about that because opening holes in the run game is not Dalton Risner's specialty. He's a pass protector.
Correct.
So it feels like a little bit of a downgrade in the run game to take Brandel out and put Risner in. But I know this is all to make sure that the passing game can stay the way it is, and maybe they'll lean a little bit harder on Aaron Jones's talent to be able to make people miss and create opportunities.
I said it on a previous episode, and I'll go back again, just digging a little bit of research, something that these national shows should do for 5 seconds. This is the theme all day. I've been petty all day, and I'm going to attack probably my favorite sports show today for being lazy as shit. Go back and look at the games missed from Aaron Jones last year. It was a good chunk of November, December. When he came back, there were 5 or 6 games. And in that time, in just a short period at the end of the season, counting the postseason, he had about as many rushing yards as our former running back number 1, which I won't name because I want to be respectful because I like him as a human. I think it's a major upgrade from what they had. I can't believe they thought, yeah, we'll just stick with the guy who showed a couple flashes when he filled in for Dalvin Cook for a year or two. So good point. You guys, yes, Risner is a pass blocking guard, but
I agree with your main point where I like the consistency of bringing back all of the starters from last year. I agree with you. There's about 3 guys on that offensive line that, frankly, I'm not really in love with any of them, but they're serviceable to decent starters in the league, but they're all guys that you could replace eventually. I'm talking about Dalton Risner. I mean, there's got to be a reason why no other team, including the Vikings, were really willing to give him a big contract. I
do know that for a little while his management was really mishandling things. So he changed his management, and it seemed like it didn't take too long after he got new management that they were able to get a deal done. So hopefully that was the hang up, and it's not something else that's kept him from getting a job. But also, bringing in Dalton Risner moves Blake Brandel down to being a backup rotational player, which adds more depth to the offensive line. And I don't get me wrong, I like the idea of Dalton Risner starting at left guard. I like it. The idea of having Blake Brandel available to be backup at multiple positions makes me happier, though.
Right, and I do think, just based on the history has shown us, someone's going to get hurt and miss some time this season on that offensive line. So having a backup that can step in like Blake Brandel and play well at multiple positions that's an important player to have on your team.
Now, Austin Schlottman isn't with the team anymore, right?
I don't remember. I don't think so.
Because I am honestly, aside from the guard or the center they just drafted, I don't know what Minnesota's depth looks like at center at the moment.
I'd have to pull up the old unofficial depth chart.
It looks like,
because I want to say Schlottman is not here anymore at the moment.
He is with the New York Giants now. He was on the team with Dalton Risner, so that was cool, from 2018 to 2021. So they were teammates for a little while with the Vikings the last 2 years, but he is now with the New York Giants. Good luck to you in New York, Austin. Thank you for your services.
Yeah, because I know Minnesota drafted a kind of undersized center this year. They're hoping to build up a little bit. I don't think he's any real threat to Garrett Bradbury or anything like that at the moment, but it's something to keep an eye on.
Vikings roster right now on the Vikings app, they have Garrett Bradbury at center and Dan Feeney listed as a center/guard. And that is it for that position, Adam.
Oh. Mullet Dan.
Number 69, Dan Feeney. I like an offensive lineman, particularly a center, rocking the 69. That's some good mojo.
That's like it.
I bet you were down in Carolina for a while, right?
I was.
Were there a lot of Jordan Gross 69 jerseys down there?
Oh, man. I haven't thought about this in a while. I can't tell you that I spotted one, but now that you say it, that is hilarious. Oh, that's funny. No, I can't say that I remember. That's funny.
Yeah, because anytime I hear the number 69 or something like that, I always think of Jordan Gross.
That's a fun little pun there. I love when that lines up with cool names, especially with hilarious numbers. So I had Justin's comment up earlier, as long as healthy, talking about Risner, because Risner had a couple of injuries.
I don't think he was talking about Risner. I think he was talking about Aaron Jones.
Aaron Jones, yeah,
because Jones has been in a committee kind of partnership in Green Bay for a while, and now he doesn't seem to have that crutch unless you think that Ty Chandler or someone is going to be able to split with him, and I don't know if that's going to happen.
So I don't want that to happen.
Yeah, I think he should be running back one, and then we can figure out the situation after. I think, and I haven't thought about this at all, and it's no slight to him because I did enjoy his services last year until he got hurt. I think they should bring Cam Akers back as well. I think that's a smart decision. God forbid one of your running backs gets hurt. That's still a better group, and we saw it with flashes last year. I don't think he should carry the load, but he looked better than our starting running back at many times last year when he was in. So
both Chandler and Akers looked okay at times, but I mean, you do want to have that 1-2 punch with Jones and have a little bit of insurance there. So is running back kind of a sneaky need for Minnesota at the moment, or are you comfortable going in with Jones just at the moment?
I think if they can get Cam Akers back, I'd be okay with the running back room. I think you have those tiers of, if it's like an upside down pyramid, bulk will be for Jones. I don't care who goes second and gets the second largest chunk, but I think Cam Akers being there kind of shortens the gap between, because it's no slight, from my opinion, to Ty Chandler. And it's just like any position. The more depth you have, the better, because inevitably one of these guys is going to get hurt because it's such a physical game.
Yeah, you don't want to say that Ty Chandler's like proven or anything, but he has flashed and looked good at times.
I don't think they will run a lot. I think they need to get back to it. I don't think they will run a lot per se. I think this will be a pass-heavy team. But
yeah, I do think we're going to see more running backs involved in the passing offense, which is going to be great.
Well,
no offense to Alexander Madison. I mean, Madison did catch a touchdown last year.
And, this offense is taking a downgrade at the quarterback position with not having Kirk. That's not a knock on Sam Darnold. I just think that that's a fair statement to make. So you are going to rely more heavily on your running backs for this season. And when you do transition into J.J. McCarthy, the eventual plan for the Vikings, you know what the best friend of a rookie quarterback, a young quarterback is? A good running game.
I thought you were going to say tight end.
Yeah.
Well, that
the blanket tight end too.
A tight end.
That was don't worry. Stable for a while.
We have the infinity. We have the infinity stone of the NFC North making his final stop here at tight end now. So we're all good.
And apparently he's looking excellent in training camp.
You know what's funny? Let's bring the training camp shit to a head. Let's talk about it because you're talking about passing game and getting Aaron Jones involved.
Sorry, OTA, not training camp, right?
Oh, that's right. My bad.
Just say practice.
Yeah. We'll say summer camp. Let's just say summer camp.
Summer camp.
Football summer camp.
It kind of feels like summer. It kind of feels like summer camp.
Well, this player did not show up to the optional practice. What's happening? It's optional.
Let's make a big deal about it and report on it for a month.
Literally every time my work has said there's something optional going on after my shift, I've never showed up for it. So I don't know why I would ever be mad at any of these players because I ain't doing that shit.
When you think about it, if we're not going to show up for $20, $30 an hour, what is it? Like I get paid how much, and you want me to come here for free? That's not fucking happening. Practice. We talk about practice. Good.
Did you hear? I'm sorry not to interrupt real quick, but one of the players they were interviewing, it might have been Blackman, was talking about how there are rumblings of the NFL changing the structure of the off season.
Okay, hold on. I'm going to get to that. I just want to shout out. We were talking about the passing stuff today. There's a clip online of Sam Darnold throwing a touchdown to Aaron Jones as a receiver, and it looked great. And then I go straight to the comments, which I should never do. And all the Packers fans are salty. They're like, he got injured after this touchdown. I was like, you're just mad because he didn't sign back with you. I get it.
Yeah.
But that was my next point to get to you guys. Good segue. So I heard this. Aaron Rodgers is a fan of it, and I heard it on the Rich Eisen show through one of his interviews. They are looking at if we start doing the 18-game schedule, like, there's 17 now, 18 weeks. If they go to 19 weeks, 18 games, they are definitely looking at breaking up everything during the summer. And they said it on the Pat McAfee show as well, like Darius Butler, shout out D-Bud. He's awesome, and he interacts on social media, which I appreciate. He hates it for the camaraderie and the connection and chemistry of young players that play. These guys need every rep. They need this time together. And then you got guys that have been in training camp for 20 years, like Aaron Rodgers is like, fuck that. I want a month and a half off before I go out there and beat the shit out of my body for 6 months, So they're proposing that there's like a month to a month and a half off between, like organized team activities to straight to training camp. But that shortens the time from when you get there at the end of the season to the actual season. I don't know that there's a formula that's going to prevent injuries. Like injuries are just going to happen. But I feel like for the downtime and the mental forever, I think the players might actually be in favor of this to have more time off. I do agree with Darius that the younger players might not have the best advantage for it. But if they go to another game, they're going to have to think about introducing another bye, and they're going to have to look at shaping how the offseason goes.
From a fan perspective, have you guys been paying attention to the Sunday Ticket lawsuit?
Oh, no, I didn't know about this.
No, what's that?
Apparently, with what was it, DirecTV that had it?
Yeah.
YouTube last year, I believe.
They're getting DirecTV, I believe, is getting sued a large amount of money. There's a class action lawsuit, and it might open things up to where Sunday Ticket in the future has standard platforms or programs to be able to do a la carte games or specific team packages.
Specific teams. We said this a fucking year ago. Let you buy your own. I don't want to watch the Bills and the Falcons. I don't give a shit. This is the only team on my hat. Let me purchase the Vikings yearly plan, and you can take my money for a reasonable amount.
But yeah, keep your eye on that lawsuit because it could be big for Vikings fans, football fans, everybody.
Let's go. I love it when a big company.
You know what I've never understood, and I'm sure there's some marketing business bullshit reason for it. But say the Vikings are playing on Fox, and it's on TV, I can put an antenna on my roof and I can watch the game for free.
Right.
I can watch it for free. But I live in a shitty area and my antenna's bad and I don't have good reception, so I don't have one. But if I pay the NFL for whatever NFL Plus, whatever these programs packages are, I can't watch that game because it's blacked out because it's in my local market. But I could watch it for free if I had an antenna on my roof that would pick it up. But I can't give you money to watch this.
But now comes the big question. How much would you guys pay to watch 1 week of a Vikings game that's out of your market?
One game, $10.
Yeah. You pay $10?
I pay $9.99. Now, would I do that every week? No. And I can't sit here and tell you this because it is illegal that you should do this or this is what I do. But if this is what happens and it goes anything above $9.99 before tax, people are going to pirate the shit out of these games, and they're not going to.
Oh yeah.
It's not going to happen. And
so if it's
$10, should be somewhere between $5 and $10. That's what I was thinking.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think with today's economy and everything else like that, I think it's not. I wouldn't say that I agree with it, but I think that's probably where it would land. But if it goes over anything like that, good luck, because we've talked about this before, right? Like I have a 7-year-old. I have Disney Plus, I have Netflix, I have Amazon. Those are 3 services that I pay for. All those together, the moment the Vikings got eliminated last year in the last week, I stopped my DirecTV thing immediately. I was like, no. And then eventually I said, I don't really watch YouTube TV either, so I canceled that. Think about all the things we already pay for. These guys have to take in consideration the consumer saying, I don't want to pay for another subscription service. But if they're going to charge, like a whole family meal price for one game, good luck, man. Good luck, because these games are getting streamed illegally ASAP.
I mean, we rag on it, and for rightfully so. NFL Plus is a terrible streaming service. Like, it's awful.
Oh, it's bad.
The user experience is bad. But if the NFL ever got their shit together and had an actual streaming app that you could stream it on, that you could legitimately go back and be like, I want to watch the 1998 Minnesota Vikings. I want to watch the 1973 Super Bowl or whatever.
Go back and watch the 97 draft.
Come on, man. You'd watch that. We would all subscribe to that. I don't know how they haven't figured this out.
It's funny you mentioned that, because right when I switched to Apple, probably 2011, 2012, whatever year it was, back when you could buy the individual stuff and it was a big deal. Now you can just stream everything. But I downloaded from the App Store and the TV app the history of the Minnesota Vikings up until 2008, 2009, whatever it was. And I always thought that was cool. But to be able to go back, I can tell you each year, depending on the record, like a game, that one that sticks out. The Tuesday night game we always reference with Joe Webb and the Eagles. I'd go back and watch that just because I want to. If they gave you the option, instead of having to YouTube it, maybe. But they're losing to a free app in YouTube because they can't. Surely we're not the first people to figure this out, Kyle. Surely it's not you and I just workshopping this on the podcast. They're like, it would be cool, a library of all the games. Like,
there's got to be some old heads that are in charge somewhere on these networks or the NFL or something that's just like, this is the way we've done it since the 60s, and like, we're not going to change, and we're just not going to adapt. And one day, you know it as well as I do, Apple or someone with a boatload of money is going to buy the rights to the NFL streaming package.
Because right now you've got all these other streaming services that are paying tons of money to air one game.
And aren't we getting games on like Netflix this year or something? Yeah.
Well, they did that with the Tom Brady roast as well. It was live, so they know they can stream things live, even though that was essentially the same thing, a planned event, whatever.
WWE is going to Netflix live in October. Like that's a big deal for them.
We appreciate that, Mike. Watching past games not for me, one and done.
I can't go back and watch a game after it's over either.
The only time I've done this is like recently. I wanted to watch some of the games that I was at. The Chiefs game this past year, the Panthers, and then I got kind of like romantic with the idea of the year before when they won all those close games. I was like, what's one that was kind of went under the radar that was kind of cool? So I watched can't remember which one. It was early on in the season. It was still very warm out, but they won like 8 games in a row. I was like, I'll just pick one of those to pass.
I do find myself getting like obsessed with watching reaction videos of fans like of big plays. Like the Minneapolis Miracle is huge. That that play where Kendricks dived on the ball in the end zone there against the Bills.
Yeah.
That was a fun one. Those reaction videos are so much fun.
I guess I'm the oddball because I do go back and watch old games. That actually kind of one of the cool things on NFL Plus is that it did have a selection of older years you could go back through and watch. Like I've watched through the entire 2009 season before. I think that was a lot of fun to go back and rewatch. Favre to Lewis, like rewatching that whole game.
It sounds weird though. Even like with the WWE app, I've never really gone back and watched old wrestling, and I love that stuff.
I did. And it changed my algorithm on TikTok. I looked up every old Shawn Michaels match that I loved from my childhood, and it's everything with like the 90s WWE now. It's like, hey, you still into this? And I'm like, I'm going to heart that so it stays in my
Adrian Peterson's game against the Chargers, where he almost broke the rushing record. Like I've gone back and watched that one. Like those are a lot of fun. I go back and I've watched like the 98 game, the Randy Moss against the Thanksgiving game against the Dallas Cowboys. That one's a lot of fun to rewatch. So like I think it depends on like if they ever did a streaming service, it would have to be like, hey, here's Randy Moss. You would have to advertise it like, hey, here's Randy Moss torching the Cowboys on Thanksgiving, or here's Adrian Peterson's historic like record, whatever. You would have to advertise those reasons to go back and watch it. But
shout out the orange peanut. I forgot about this. Holy shit. I haven't thought about that since we were recording the show on Skype back in the day. Wow. Good Lord.
That's a long time ago.
It's a good one. Well, we're getting like, we're already a third of the way what we should be doing, like an hour for the show, but hopefully it won't go that long today. There's not that much to talk about. The training, OTA highlights have been fun. I don't put too much stock into it. I'm just happy to see people running around, actually playing football, hoping that the rookie quarterback is getting good reps in. You guys can talk about that.
JJ McCarthy, have you guys been hearing that there's a possibility he might start as the quarterback 3 this year?
Good.
I have no problem with that. I have no problem at all.
Is this unpopular for me to say? I would be okay if he's inactive for the first part of the season, if necessary. Like he doesn't even need to be active on game days.
There's no need to rush him into anything.
No, there's really not.
I've been pounding this, idea, and I'm kind of changing the wording on it because I want people to understand I am not a JJ McCarthy hater. I support whomever plays for this team because I want the team to succeed. Whatever the coaches think is the best option, and if he's truly ready, I'm going to reference this because it's recent. If this is a Russell Wilson situation where you paid this guy or you brought this guy in for whatever reason and whatever money, but this kid is clearly fast-tracking himself to beat everyone, and it looks like a couple more weeks we might have to name him the starter. He looks really good. Do it. I trust these coaches. But my preference is not every – I've said this recently on the show. I'm sorry I'm beating a dead horse. Not every rookie quarterback is going to look like C.J. Stroud did last year. That is an anomaly. That is an outlier. Most of them look like Zach Wilson. And I don't want to see J.J. McCarthy look like Zach Wilson. If it takes a year for him to do the Patrick Mahomes behind Alex Smith thing or whatever, insert here, just make sure he's ready before. Because what do we always hear, guys? The quarterbacks always say, damn, man, the game's a lot faster in the pros.
Oh, yeah.
I don't want him to get overwhelmed because I'll say this one last time. I won't bring it up again. He was driving a Lamborghini in the University of Michigan. Not literally, but the team itself. It was a pro team playing college kids.
It's a pro offense from Jim Harbaugh.
Right. And that's not what this is now. Every team is really good, especially in this division. Every team got better. So take your time, man. There's no need to rush it. I know Kevin O'Connell's not going to try to ruin him because he wants to keep his job. So, yeah, I'm cool with it. I don't really care who they pick as long as they're the best option to win. I am rooting myself for a Baker Mayfield year for Sam Darnold. I want him to ball out and have 30-plus touchdowns so he can go have a new career resurgence like Baker and Geno and all those guys of recent years to be like, cool. I still got it. I just need some pieces around me. Not these dog shit New York Jet teams that I was on.
Maybe I am drinking the off-season Vikings Kool-Aid. But I am actually a little bit excited to see what Sam Darnold can do in this offense. Sure. He might potentially be good. Like, are you going to win a Super Bowl with him? Probably not. You're probably not going to. But I still think that he could put up some numbers and actually look competent out there for the Vikings.
It's surprising some of the names I'm hearing of people that are just doing great at OTAs and are making a name for themselves. The one that got me the most was Shaq Griffin. I like Shaq Griffin, and I want to hear that him coming in and just finding a great role for himself. And so far, it sounds like he's fitting in pretty well.
Who else? Who else is having a good little OTA? You guys, you want to take the honors? Kyle, you brought this up in the chat, or was it Adam? Brought up the Christian Darrisaw video.
Oh yeah, that was me who sent the video. Rookie of the year, Dallas Turner. That's my bold prediction. He will win Defensive Rookie of the Year.
Keep going. Speaking of, let me grab this jersey.
He supposedly is looking really good. There was an awesome quote about his spin move and him looking faster and quicker than what Danielle Hunter was out there. What do you think, Adam?
I'm interested to see him and Grenard doing their things together because Minnesota, when we heard that Danielle Hunter was going to be moving on, everybody was really concerned about Minnesota's pass rush, and they weren't sure what was going to happen. But, I mean, with Grenard and there you go.
Ooh.
Why does that look like a Colts jersey?
It's just color on the camera. That's the is that a throwback jersey?
It sure is.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. I love it.
Shout out to I'm not going to give the name, but if you go on Twitter, all the Twitter Vikings lords will tell you where to get that for super cheap. I got that for $28.
I recently wrote an article about starters that might be taken to the bench in favor of a rookie, and I don't know how long it's going to take Dallas Turner to be ready, but from what I'm hearing, it won't take long. And then does Andrew Van Ginkel go to the bench? Is that the plan, do you think?
Brian Flores can figure out a rotation to get all these guys
that rotation
involved,
of like
right?
B+ players to these blue chip rookies, man. What a blessing this defense is to have another year with him and to have
Isn't Van Ginkel
talent.
coming off an injury?
I'd have to look.
I thought he had like an ankle injury or something he was coming off of from
I'm
Miami.
Not sure, but from everything I'm hearing, Grenard is looking really fast and good too. So
good.
I like that.
Good.
This defense, dude, is going to be insane. Year two of Brian Flores.
Kyle, you're right. So this was in January. I always give credit for the sources. So this is from the Miami Herald, Sports Buzz. Barry Jackson. It says, you got to pay for that, of course. An update on Van Ginkel's injury won't be long-term, his agent said. That was January 22nd of 2024. I mean, that's damn near 6 months ago, so I think he's all right. I think he's going to be okay.
I believe it was something to do with his ankle.
Yes.
Like you said, that was a while ago, and we haven't heard any news from the Vikings media about that being an issue. But that is something to monitor, too. Like, that could factor into Dallas Turner getting some more playtime if there is any kind of lingering issues with that.
But the three of us all know that having a strong depth and rotation at edge rusher is a great thing to have. And having three guys that could all potentially be starters, but only having to play two, I mean, sure, there's going to be an odd man out, and it's going to make for strange playing times and stuff. But if you can keep fresh players in there getting after that quarterback, that's what you want to do.
The Vikings historically have done a phenomenal job of keeping talent waiting and in the wing at that position. Because I remember on the show, like, you would go from like, what are we going to do when Jared Allen is no longer with the team? And then you got Everson Griffin, and Everson Griffin steps in, and you're just fine. And then when Everson Griffin is gone, you got Danielle Hunter who steps in.
Speaking of Everson, I do hope that he does get some help for whatever he needs at the moment. Did you guys see that he was arrested again?
No, I hadn't heard that at all. I just
saw that he was at one of the Wolves games.
What happened?
What the hell, man?
Another DUI.
Fuck. Oh, man. Come on. We're rooting for you, dude. Get back home.
I understand that he isn't ready to come back to football and he's got stuff in his personal life, but, it's those things in your life that you just got to kind of take care of. And I know it can be hard and it can be a challenge, and I hope that he can figure out a way to take care of himself and his loved ones.
I'm not even taking shots because this isn't me talking shit. That football window for him is closed, man. That's my personal thing.
Yeah,
he's not going to get another shot with the age and this continuing to be a thing. So right now the focus should be maintain your wealth, maintain your health, maintain your mental status, and that sucks, man. We all loved him on the show.
Yeah, I didn't know that, man. He was always a fan favorite. He always.
I literally just saw him in a story the other day at one of the Wolves games. That's why I'm like, what happened? He was just there.
Remember when he got
Minnesota's now winning 2-0.
There we go. Bring your ass.
Remember when Everson got super excited in that post-game interview against what was that, the Jets?
Oh, yeah.
The walk-off touchdown to Jarius Wright. That was a little screen, I believe.
I love his energy.
Oh, I know, man.
I got to meet him in Minneapolis, and man, he is such a character.
Nice. I loved his and Brian Robinson's chemistry, man. They were so good together. I'm answering this from him a couple minutes ago. How's the quality of the jersey? I am bragging a little bit on myself, even though I'm drinking a soda, which I shouldn't be. I have lost about 28 pounds recently, and I should have ordered a large because this is going to be a fucking dress on me. But
when you do order those, you usually do want to order a size bigger because those ones that come from China, you never know.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm glad that I went with this now, but maybe if I end up getting a McCarthy jersey, I wasn't ready to commit to him yet.
But I have never seen bad stitching issues or things like that from China.
No, that's the first thing I look at are the numbers, are they in the right place, blah, blah, blah. It's pretty good and especially for the price, man. You can't beat it. John, you and I talk on the podcast messenger all the time. Shoot me a message and I'll send you the link.
In St. Paul, I got to go to tour the it's called the Powerhouse, their gym there. And Kyle Rudolph was signing autographs, and I got pictures, of Kyle Rudolph and everything. But there was a person waiting in line with a Kyle Rudolph jersey that you knew was from China, because on the back Rudolph was spelled wrong.
That's like I showed you guys a long time ago.
In different places.
I ordered one of those third-party sites to get a John Randall hoodie jersey thing, and it said Pandal on the back, and I was like, I can't throw it away because it's hilarious, but I also don't want to wear it because it's embarrassing.
You should have him sign it. He would think that would be funny.
Mr. Pandal, you're my favorite.
I mean, he would get on you about not buying it, an official one.
Here we go.
There it
is. Hey, some of us are out here riding the struggle bus, man. I need that shit on the cheap. Oh, there we go. All right, Kyle, you were not here. So we're going to load this on the screen, and we're just going to go through and check it off. I wish that I had an actual piece of paper because I don't like being on my phone for the show. But I'm going to try to write this down as best I can. But I'm going to share the screen for a few minutes, and we're going to go through the schedule. And we wanted everyone and all the hosts to be here to kind of go over the predictions. But, yeah, a couple weeks ago, the schedule came out. Yeah, we don't see a loss.
I don't see a loss.
Yeah,
I'm never going to get not tired of saying that.
I will. Thank
you, Paul Allen.
Beyond sick of that, but I know it's going to be a thing. All right, so we're opening up at the New York Giants. Do we all collectively think we can beat the Giants on the road?
That's a win. Season? Yeah. I don't believe in Daniel Jones. No more Saquon Barkley. That team's going to suck.
All right.
I could not believe that stat that I sent you guys about Eli Manning having thrown more touchdowns to Minnesota Vikings players than his own players.
Oh, my God. What a great – and it was on Lebitard's show, too. It was such a good one because the way he delivers that is so funny. Yeah, I sent you guys a video. I was like, I actually have a video from that game when I was watching. It's pretty great. His stupid face that he always made. Okay, so we all think that's going to be a win. Against the Niners, I don't see that being a win, and that sucks for the home opener. All right.
It's early in the season. Maybe you sneak one out. That could be a sneaky win, but I'm going to say no right now. That's a loss.
So we go from the Josh Dobbs revenge game into the Stephon Diggs revenge game.
There we go. I think Houston is too talented, and their quarterback situation is way better. I don't think we beat the Texans either.
Yeah, Houston's a damn good team. I think that's a loss for the Vikings.
And then we got Minnesota's kicker coming up. He's in Green Bay, right? Or is he in Detroit? I can't remember. I think
he's in Green Bay. Yep. Greg Joseph did sign with the Packers. I'm going to go with an L at the Packers, even though it's early in the year. And that's kind of where they've won recently. I think this team is better than ours, and I don't like it. And I think the quarterback situation, again, is going to be – and I don't think it'll be a blowout. I don't know that any of these games will be a blowout. I'm sure I'll be wrong about one of them, but I do have the Vikings starting 1-3 for the season, so that's not fun.
And then we got the Tyler Conklin revenge game.
There we go. I will put a win against the Jets.
But that is the way that, like – I think it's so weird the way that the NFL will market these games as like revenge games, and sometimes when there really isn't revenge in any way of it.
Right.
It's like, it's going to be a storyline for Green Bay. It's going to be like, Aaron Jones stabbed his team in the back and went to Minnesota. It's like, that's not really what happened.
Yeah.
I always think we can beat the Giants, then we don't.
Well,
yeah, as long as it's not the playoffs, we should be fine. Looking forward to the LA.
The Jets are interesting. Is Aaron Rodgers going to be healthy? Is he going to be starting? Like, that makes all the difference in the world.
You know what? Colin Cowherd doesn't like it, and a couple of these guys don't. I love the fact that they just went offensive line heavy, and they actually went out and got the receiver that he name dropped in the draft. As long as he doesn't have any weird injuries, they could be very good because that defense is wonderful. It's weird.
Or they could be fucking terrible.
They could be.
Even with Aaron Rodgers, they could just be fucking awful this year.
You know what?
I don't know, man.
Aaron Rodgers, when he had to get his ankle taped up again, everybody was like, "Oh, he's injured again," and he came back out and just started playing again. He's still kind of running with the narrative.
This is the kind of thing I'm looking. Even though he's a little older, different position. Obviously, the genetics were better for Adrian Peterson, but he had that year where he really wanted to prove something. He's gotten away from Green Bay, and then happened in on the first series. I think he's going to have one of those kind of years if he's healthy. Aaron Rodgers will be like, "Hey, look, I might be a little older, but I'm still really fucking good at football." So maybe they've got good weapons too.
Here's the thing about Aaron Rodgers. I know he still wants to play football, but part of me also thinks this dude would be just as happy right now if he was in some cave in India meditating, doing his weird Aaron Rodgers stuff.
He's a year or two away from that, for sure.
Yeah, right.
He's got that – he's so far in so many ways. It's so funny. He's like, hey, I'm still really good at this, and I still have an itch that I want to scratch. But I've also made $250 million, and I would like to just go chill for the rest of my life.
Right.
He's about that point. Yeah, I think he's a season or two away from being like, won a Super Bowl, won a bunch of MVPs. I'll wait for you to call me for the Hall of Fame. Also, he didn't want to retire the same year as Tom Brady because that would have sucked. He would have been second fiddle at the induction ceremony, whatever. So that's cool.
I'm kind of with Justin here. The Jets are not a team that I'm going to say are going to be bad by any means, but I don't think they're going to be top contenders either. They're going to be one of those teams that's going to be tough to beat, but we might not even be a playoff team.
I actually think Minnesota could beat the Jets here.
I put them as a win against the Jets here on my thing. So 2-3 to start the season. Not the worst going to a bye. I hate the week 6 bye. Wish it was about week 9, but whatever.
Yeah.
Apparently, the NFL thinks they're going to be really good because they gave them the most primetime games, which is bananas. I don't understand that one bit, but whatever. So we have the 20th of October, Detroit Lions at US Bank. I hate to do it again. I don't think the Vikings are going to win a lot at home this year. It's a tough schedule anyways. So I'm putting a loss against Detroit. Detroit is very good.
If I think they're going to beat Detroit, they're going to do it at home. So I'm hoping for a split.
They can sneak out a win at home coming after the bye week. If they're going to beat them, I agree with Adam. At home, coming off the bye, that's the perfect opportunity to do so.
Here's where I have a little win streak going for the Vikings. So we talked about Detroit. I think they can go in on a short week and beat the Rams. The Rams are good, but they lost Aaron Donald. They finally got some draft picks back. They do have a good wide receiver tandem in Kupp and Nakua, but I don't know, man. I like the coach versus coach, peer versus peer aspect of this. And I like a fiery Vikings team going on the road with some youth. So I will put them as a win against the Rams.
Yeah, if Minnesota can slow down Kyron Williams, I think they'll have a good chance of winning that game.
Yeah.
So here's an interesting 4 to 5 to 6 game run. All right. The Colts aren't a slouch. I believe they were in contention up until the very last few weeks with Gardner Minshew quarterbacking him last year because Anthony Richardson was injured.
We don't know what Anthony Richards is going to be playing like. He's got a hell of a lot of potential.
Oh yeah,
he looks like Cam Newton to me. He looks just like Cam. Right. Big arm, defensive end, playing quarterback. Probably going to get banged up a lot, but I mean, you take a chance on a guy like that.
Very interested to see how he plays this year. I will be watching as many Colts games as I can for Anthony Richardson. Minnesota could probably sneak out that win, though.
What do you think, Adam? Think they could beat the Colts?
I don't see enough for the Colts offensively with firepower to be able to get a win there over Minnesota. I don't see it.
Nice. So we all think the Colts game is a good one. All right, so we have a 3 away game stretch here, 2 of them against the AFC South and then a division opponent at the Jacksonville Jaguars. So this is interesting for the Jaguars because they have to make a decision soon on Trevor Lawrence. Do you guys think he has warranted himself to get a $50 million a year contract yet? I don't, but I think that's what he'll get paid.
I don't, but he will.
But he will, of course.
Yeah.
I don't know if he had his negotiations with Jack Perry in a flamethrower, then we'll never know. By the way, that's an AEW joke, Smith. I know.
So long as he doesn't hire CM Punk as his agent.
I get the tie with AEW and Jacksonville and the son and father that run that too. That's pretty cool. Jacksonville, it's tough. I like Doug Peterson. I like the team. I think Calvin Ridley is there now along with another decent receiver. They're going to lose one of these away games. I can't put all of them being there, but I think that's the most talented. I'll put a loss for Jacksonville, even though I don't like it. I think coming up, we'll talk about. I think we'll all agree. I think they're going to win the next few games, but and that'll be good. The way my schedule is going to pan out, based on looking at it, the Vikings are going to get hot in the middle to the end of the year, so that's what you want. But I think Jacksonville could beat them, maybe by a field goal, home field stuff. That next week, November 17th, at the Tennessee Titans. I don't think any of us think the Titans pose a threat against the Vikings, even though they are hosting.
No, which is why Minnesota's going to lose the game.
100%.
That always happens.
Because for a while, the Titans were just this ground and pound team that relied on short passing and quick daggers, and I don't think they have that threat anymore.
No, and it's nice that Will Levis might have shown some promise, and you want to see if that'll turn around.
He's showing some stuff, all right.
Yeah, we heard it. You guys can Google that. We're not talking about that here, but I don't blame him too, man. His girlfriend is a smoke show, but
yeah,
I wouldn't want my stuff out there for everybody to see. That would be I would have to change my name and get plastic surgery. But I don't know who that person is. I would crawl under a rock, man. Justin said he wants to go to the Jacksonville game. Do you live near there? Where are you at, Justin? Send us your address.
He's an Iowa boy.
Your social security number. Just type it out. We got you.
Please
He's a
don't
personal
do
friend.
that.
He lives down in Iowa.
Nice.
He likes corn.
So we have November 24th. So I guess that'll be right after or before the Thanksgiving time frame at the Chicago Bears. Bears always give us a tough out because that defense is very good. They have upgraded a quarterback from last year, but I will say that we will split with them. I like the Vikings to beat them.
That's a loss to me.
I'm going to put whatever the other game for Chicago is. It's the December game coming up 3 games after that. I'll put that was one. I think we'll split with Chicago.
The one thing I do really like with the schedule, especially about Minnesota being an indoor team, is that they don't have any really bad outdoor late season games.
Right.
And they also don't play at Washington, which is good because that field's just terrible.
That field sucks. Thank God. Okay, so I have a win at the Bears. Home for the Cardinals. They did get Marvin Harrison Jr. Kyler Murray is a good quarterback, but
Is he?
I think he is.
He is a quarterback.
Yeah. He is definitely one of 32 quarterbacks in the NFL.
He's a good quarterback. He's not my favorite, and he's undersized, but athletically running around. I mean, he's like Diet Russell Wilson from back in the day. It's all right. It's fine. I think they win.
I believe in Marvin Harrison Jr., and he's going to give fits to this secondary for the
Vikings for sure. I get it.
Yeah, yeah.
Oh, I didn't notice that. That's cool. So you have at Jacksonville, Tennessee, and Chicago 3 away, and then you have 3 home games. That's pretty sweet.
Oh, yeah.
Nice.
So 3 home games in a row for the month of December to start. That's pretty sweet. We all like the Cardinals. We like the Vikings to beat them. Kirk Cousins revenge game. Let's go. This is a 1 p.m. Fox game for Kirk Cousins, which is the window where he wins a lot.
That's the Kirk window of opportunity.
It is. And I do really enjoy that Atlanta Falcons offensive line. He does have some good weapons there. But I'm sorry, bro. You can't tell me you want to be a Minnesota Viking for life and then you go chase the money again. You've already made $250 million. So that was bullshit. Yeah, I'm going to say they're going to beat the Falcons.
I'll give this one to Kirk.
Okay.
He'll win the revenge game. That'll piss us all off, right?
Oh, yeah.
The thing is that this is late enough in the season to where we don't know really who's going to be a quarterback or what's going on. I can assume that Minnesota's defense is going to be at least middle of the road, I'm hoping.
Could this be JJ McCarthy time for Minnesota? Is that what you're saying, Adam?
This is where you're going to see it if it happens. Yeah.
I want to talk about that. Leave the schedule up when we're done.
Yeah, it might not even be Kirk Cousins' time at that point down in Atlanta.
It could be
outside of an injury.
Michael
I cannot see him coming. I can't see him coming out outside of injury.
Because now you're at a point where do you go with the guy you paid or do you go with the guy that you invested a top draft pick in?
I think the payment, because the kid is going to be there no matter what. He looked damn good before he got his Achilles torn last year too, man. He's just got to come back strong, which it looks. I mean, he's throwing dimes in OTAs right now, so we'll see. We'll see. Atlanta, U.S. Bank, December 16th, hosting the Bears. I have them winning in Chicago. I'm going to have them taking an L here because I think they split with the Bears.
I can see that.
To be honest, I don't think we beat Chicago this year. And that's just not based on their quarterback. That's based on they have a good team.
They have a very good team. Their corners are great.
Right? So if Caleb Williams is half of what the media has built him up to be, like they should be a solid team this year. I don't think we will beat the Chicago Bears. I think Chicago is probably going to give us more fits than what the Detroit Lions will.
So how do you see the Vikings doing in the division then? You see them getting swept, or how are you feeling?
No, they'll win a division game or two. I think they could go 3-3 at best, but I think they're the best team.
They'll split with Green Bay.
I don't like the matchup with Chicago. You're right.
Yeah, I don't like the matchup with Chicago.
I have them going 2-4 in the division. I have them losing to the Lions both times, and I have them splitting with the Packers and the Bears.
I still really don't believe in Jared Goff. We've praised him a little bit on the show, but I'm still not 100% sold on him. But that's a gritty, tough team, and he's kind of like he's their guy, so he fits with what they want to do. It's tough for me to decide how Detroit is going to play this year.
For me, it's not even that, though. I see your point, Kyle. I believe they've assembled such a good team, and they bought in with that coach. I don't think it matters. I think you can have a B-, B+ quarterback, which is exactly where he lands. And as long as you can steer the ship.
Who's their kid on defense? I can't remember his name.
Aiden Hutchinson.
He's a beast.
He's a monster. That's a great pick.
Right.
And then I think the year before they got Sewell on the offensive side. They have pieces everywhere. And then their running back is really good. Gibbs, holy shit, we laughed at that pick, and he looked damn good last year.
Yeah, that Lions offensive line is no joke.
Mm-hmm. Back to the basics, the Bears. So we go to Seattle. I am not too scared by Geno Smith nor Sam Howell, but that That team is very good, and that will be late in the year where it'll be a little cold and rainy. But I did have them pulling out a win in Seattle because it's not the Russell Wilson Legion of Boom that had the Vikings number for 10 years while we played them every year.
Yeah,
they do have big physical receivers, though, and that might match up poorly against Minnesota.
It's true. They do have one of the best wide receiver trios, if Lockett is still there, in Jigba, Lockett, and DK Metcalf. That's a nightmare to try to figure out.
But no more Pete Carroll, and he brought a lot of energy and a lot of oomph to that team, and I'm curious to see how they play without him as their head coach anymore.
I think that's my main reason, man.
I'm not all that concerned about Seattle right now. I'm really not.
My two biggest takeaways from that division is worrying about the Niners and the Rams. Those are the best teams. I'm not too worried about Seattle, but they could be sneaky good. You don't really know. That's why I'm with you, Kyle. I'm not too worried because Pete Carroll is gone. I want to see what the new coach brings. But I do have them squeaking out a win in Seattle. I do have them winning against Green Bay. I had them losing in Green Bay, but winning at home, their last home game against the Packers. How do you guys feel about that?
I think they split with Green Bay this year. I think one of those is going to be a loss. So if you sneak out a win early in the season, they're probably going to beat you at home, which sucks. I hate that, but that's just kind of what I'm thinking at the moment.
What about you, Adam? You think they squeak it out against the Packers at the end of the year?
I'll be honest, I am watching the Timberwolves game.
That's fair.
How are they doing?
Not great. That Luka is making way too many shots.
He is such like an annoyance, man. I watched not the game they won the other night, game 3, and he couldn't miss. I think I watched the entire second half. I don't think he missed a shot, which is insane.
Yeah, once he gets going, it's bad.
He's a scoring leader for a reason. I mean, and he's a big boy. That's crazy that a guy that big is that accurate. But
going from Jokic over to Luka, I mean, how? What? Why? What? Just I know it's the playoffs and you're only going to play good teams and good players, but dang.
And then if Minnesota somehow pulls off the impossible, which has never happened, they'd have to play Boston. And Boston, they're going to win everything. That's who I'm putting all of my money on. And man, it sucks, man. This Wolves team is a fun team to get behind. They got a lot of moxie. I like them.
They're young. They're exciting. And it's fun to watch a Minnesota team making a run.
Yeah, I agree, Justin. I agree. Last game of the year at Detroit, at the Vikings losing that game. I think Detroit wins the division again. I think the race between them and the Packers is going to be closer than you think. Every year, there are about 7 different playoff teams than from the year before. So statistically, the Vikings have a better chance. Unfortunately for Minnesota, the NFC North, in my opinion, is probably the best division in football now.
I almost said Detroit could be resting their starters in that game, but I forgot Dan Campbell ain't doing that.
Shout out to the Lions, too. I agree. I saw a quote today. I think it was on PFF or whatever. It was on Instagram, but it said he didn't say sacks were overrated. He goes, I don't really care about them as much. The pressures are the things that you want. And then, the comment was, are sacks overrated? Are pressures more important? And I'm like, yeah, I mean, kind of. You need pressure. Getting to the quarterback is wonderful, but if you can just disrupt him enough all day, he can look like shit, and that's almost as good.
I don't know. Finishing is pretty good.
Yeah. But Smith, badass. One more year. Yeah. Ring of honor for that dude. What a talent he is. And to spend his whole time in Minnesota, what a great Viking. Got to bite those kneecaps. Bite them right off. One chew, one bite.
And did you listen to his interview where they asked him what he was doing in the off season? And he was like, yeah, my brother was remodeling my house. So I decided to help him do carpentry and welding and like just all this weird stuff like that. And he's like,
I thought you were talking about Dan Campbell for a second. It's like,
oh, no, Harrison Smith. And he's like, yeah, I didn't even really focus on football.
I thought Dan Campbell was like a bit of a joke when he first came in. I was like, this guy, I couldn't take him seriously. And then I see what he's doing and how he's team behind him. And it's like a real thing, And he is a coach that can help that team really change decades of disappointment. And that's wild to me.
It's weird because Detroit has been so bad for so long.
So
It
bad,
feels,
so long.
It feels weird to sit here and say they might win the division because no, like that's never been a thing ever.
And I don't know if you guys have seen the interviews with Dan Campbell, but do you guys remember when he said how many cups of coffee he has in the morning?
Holy shit! No, I don't. How many?
I want to say it's around like 6 or 7.
Holy shit!
Oh man!
Remember when they hired Matt Patricia?
You know what's funny too is
remember when Chicago fired was it Lovie Smith after a winning season?
Oh yeah.
That's one of my all-time favorite NFL coaches. Not only did they fire Lovie Smith after a winning season, he went down to Houston and they were going to get the number 1 pick, and he was like, "Hey, you know what? Fuck you guys. We're going to win the last game, so you don't get the number 1 pick."
I love it,
which actually helped them out. But man, that's funny. That level of petty, I live for. Going back to this, so I have the Vikings at 10-7. I still feel like that's kind of optimistic. I definitely see them as like an 8-9, 9-18.
Yeah.
Because right now Vegas has them at 6.5. I think you have to bet on the over for that. Based on last year, 4 different starting quarterbacks, they still won 7 games. I think that they'll win about 8 or 9, but I mean, stranger things have happened, right?
We're all sitting here assuming that Sam Darnold is going to have a career year.
And we're all sitting here assuming that Justin Jefferson will be back next year.
Right? I mean, there's a very distinct possibility Sam Darnold is going to Sam Darnold out there on offense for this team. And maybe Justin Jefferson, to a point, I know we're going long, but a point that Kyle Smith had made, maybe he holds out or something because he won so much money that it's just not feasible for the Vikings. If he's not playing, this could be a 5 or a 6 win team at best.
Yeah, no, I agree. If Jefferson's not there, your offense changes dynamically, like so much. But to go on a mini rant here about the Jefferson situation.
Do you guys think there's actually any chance of a holdout?
I think so. I think with all these, like, we just saw Jalen Waddle today getting like 28, what was it, 20-something?
Yeah, $24 million a year for wide receiver.
$24 million a year for a wide receiver number 2. But here's the thing.
And what is it, Miami has the number 3 and number 4 paid wide receivers in the NFL?
Oh, it's fucking crazy. I mean, offense is what does it. I think you should get a different quarterback if you want him to be better. But I don't know. The cap went up. Let's just bring this down into perspective. I don't have the exact number, but this was talked about probably like 2012, right when Aaron Rodgers was in his prime and the heyday of MVP seasons. His salary back in like 2012, 2013 or whatever, like the early 2010s, Aaron Rodgers, the MVP of the league, only other quarterback better at that time was probably Tom Brady outside of that one miraculous Denver Peyton Manning year. He was only making $20 million a year, and that was 14 years ago at most. So when I see these old boomer idiots on Facebook, they're like, you don't need to pay anybody that much. The salary cap went up almost the whole amount that Aaron Rodgers was getting paid, and he's still playing. So that wasn't that long ago.
No.
Money gets bigger, contracts get bigger. This is not hard math for you idiots, but I'm going to break it down for you because you're not smart and you should be handheld through everything. If we have to increase the number that the company makes, the employees make more. This is why you work for a boss and you're not a boss because you're stupid. So that's how it's going to go. Justin Jefferson, as long as he doesn't get traded, which I went on this rant last week, if he doesn't hold out or whatever, the agent that he has of the last, I think it was last year, 2 of his guys got their deals the week before the season started. Now, I don't like that for chemistry building. I wish that he would get paid now because the longer the Vikings wait, the number might go up. But that number is going to be 35 or more a year. And it's going to be like, damn, that's a lot of money. Here's my rant one more time, 2 weeks in a row. What is the – Kyle West, you weren't here. Let me just throw this to you because I know what your answer is going to be. Kyle West, what is the point of the NFL draft for every team?
To get younger and better and cheaper.
And get probably a great player, right? If we trade Justin Jefferson for assets, we're looking for what? Another Justin Jefferson? You already fucking got one.
You mean Malik Neighbors?
Yeah, see, there it goes.
Yeah.
There goes that. Oh, he was trading for neighbor. I can't believe Rich Eisen. You got Mike Florioed, and I hate that for you because I love Rich Eisen. He's not an idiot. He's a very fun
people
personality.
trust Charlie Walters?
He's a columnist. He's not even one of the beat writers. What? Oh, it infuriates me. But yeah, that was disproven. Thank you, Kevin Seifert, for being like, hey, that was a juicy rumor. It was total bullshit, by the way. Yeah, I don't think that any wide receiver is going to win you a Super Bowl, but I also don't think this team is a Super Bowl team. This isn't the Philadelphia Eagles, the Bills, the Bengals, the Niners, the Chiefs, the whomever. We are not that caliber of team yet. Are we on that trajectory? I believe so.
I would have loved to see you guys' reaction if Minnesota drafted neighbors.
Well, immediately I would have been like, what the fuck is Justin Jefferson doing? Because that would have been I mean, he's going to be a good player, but why? That's my point. Why would you risk? It's a lottery ticket, so it's not guaranteed. So you're like, well, I'm going to trade something that is a known commodity for a chance. I don't like chances. I like the guy that I know is going to be really good. The guy that misses 8 games and still has 1,000 yards. That's the dude that I want.
I like this comment.
So be that guy. Did you have some opinion of Kirk? Give me more context, and I will go down whatever rabbit hole. Can't let one guy cripple you from a contract. Well, here's the thing. This is the idea of drafting a young quarterback, right? If I pay Justin Jefferson $36 million a year, I don't have to worry about J.J. McCarthy for another 3 or 4. So you get the length of his prime because he's already played 4 seasons. You get to season 7, and Justin Jefferson's like, hey, we haven't won a Super Bowl. So, I think I'm going to try to go somewhere else. Okay. I got the best years out of it.
The main difference between paying Kirk and paying Jefferson is the stage of their career that each player is in.
Yep.
Kirk is at the end of his career. Jefferson is in the prime of his career. Now, I'm not saying that you can't win with Kirk. Atlanta will win some games with Kirk Cousins. Like, he will be good for them. But Minnesota was at a point where they were not – like, our Super Bowl window is – opening and we're getting there, but you were not willing to commit that much money to Kirk because he doesn't have enough time based on his age and whatever that I think that you were going to win with him. Jefferson is in the prime of his career, so I would be more willing to obviously give him that big contract to stay because he can be a pillar, a building block for this franchise.
All right, now we got Michael here talking about Addison, and Addison is an interesting conversation now because we saw what Jalen Waddle got as a wide receiver 2, and Waddle had, 3-4 touchdowns last year?
He had 4.
And he had close to 1,000 yards.
Yep.
Or around 1,000. And those
just shy of 1,000, but
about the same number. No, I want to say Waddle had over 1,000.
Oh, I'm talking about Addison, right at 1,000 and 10 touchdowns. And I remember when he got drafted, and he was like, "If that market
stays that way and everything, we could be talking about a huge payday for Addison in the future."
Well, it's funny too because you got to think. Remember when the fans were up in arms where he got on stage when he got drafted? He's like, "Let's get that back." Well, when you have 1,000 yards and 10 touchdowns, you're gonna get paid. Keep that shit up, and you will get paid. Here's the thing. I see what your comment is already, and I don't disagree, but I know what the Vikings are going to do. I just have it in my heart that I know that they're going to keep him. Justin
I think the key word here for Justin is open. Being open to moving Jefferson is one thing. But wanting to move him is a totally different thing. But I don't want Minnesota to move Jefferson, but if they do, and they can get good compensation, and they can save that salary cap, I might not hate it.
Here's the bad part of this, Justin. This is the doomsday scenario. This is the Herschel Walker shit all over again. Let's say you trade Jefferson. You got 2 1s and like a star player. Star player comes here and underperforms or gets hurt. And then those 2 picks you get are Lewis Cine and Laquan Treadwell. You just fucked yourself and got rid of the generational wide receiver. And you look like a dumbass for getting rid of him and getting these players that you missed on. That's the worst case scenario. I don't know what the probability of that is, but I know that Justin Jefferson is really good now. And what's your motivation when you get rid of him? What's the identity of the team? Because as it stands right now, Justin Jefferson is the best player on the team. And he's by far and large that guy. There's not really a close second. So what are you going after? Are you using these assets next year to go trade up for your quarterback of the future? Are you going to go get a Marvin Harrison Jr. even though there's not one next year? Like, what's your game plan? Because if you're just getting capital, what's the point of it? You know what I mean?
While we're talking Vikings wide receivers, I do need to get you guys this. I haven't seen your faces when we talk about this, but why is there a current narrative going around the NFL fan base that Chris Carter is massively overrated?
Just like I mentioned earlier, for the salary cap, people are stupid. they're just not smart.
Every time I see one, I share it in our group chat, and I've been seeing it way too often lately.
Can I just go on that? Kyle, I'll let you get in because I'll shut up after that, I promise. This is about that. You sent that and I laughed. It's so funny, man. These guys that you can't look back at any moment past year 2000 because those are the old guys. It's like the LeBron Michael Jordan debate. It's like, basketball existed before LeBron James, right? Like, I get that he's really good. Here's the thing. When guys vote you into the Hall of Fame, these are guys that played the game, whether they be coaches or players or even the writers that have been around teams for 30, 40, 50 years. When you get voted into the Hall of Fame, you're not a bum. That's the first rule that whoever posted that is a fucking moron. But it's kind of like that Larry Fitzgerald stat.
But if it was just one guy, I wouldn't mind getting one guy, but I'm seeing it more and more and more often. Why?
So think about that.
Carter could always get open. He was making amazing sideline catches. If you go back and watch his tape, he was an amazing receiver.
This is in the era when receivers go over the middle, they get fucking decapitated. And he was so clutch with his hands. It's like that Larry Fitzgerald stat of he's got more tackles than he does drops. He was Larry Fitzgerald. He caught everything. What do you mean? He was better than Larry Fitzgerald.
I am going to make a callback to something that we were talking about earlier in the show, and I think it applies to this 100%. People don't watch older games. We are getting so far removed from when Chris Carter played in the NFL that the kids today don't know how good he was. What they know Chris Carter from is when he was on ESPN or First Take or whatever these other shows were, where he talked shit about their favorite football team. He said something bad about the New England Patriots or the Philadelphia Eagles or whatever. And that is what they are basing their opinion on, is Chris Carter, the media personality. Because they haven't really seen they're not old enough to have watched him play. They haven't really seen his highlights. They don't know how good Chris Carter actually was, because the NFL does not do a good job of introducing the younger fans to what the older generation of players were. They don't.
No.
They don't care.
You know why that is, Kyle? They're worried too much. It's too much about the entertainment aspect. Yes. That's why if you really want, this is a great segue you didn't even mean to have. If you guys want to get educated and just feel the utter respect in the room, go watch that NFL 100 docuseries where they sit down with current and past greats at each position, current coaches that are great, quarterbacks, running backs, wide receivers, defensive players, and just listen to them shoot the shit and see what they say about it. The coolest shit I ever saw the other day, Bill Belichick was talking to Ed Reed, and he was like, it's the best play I've ever seen by a free safety. You and all three of us would never see this highlight, and we wouldn't give a shit because it would never come across our screen.
Right.
And then you watch, and you're like, Jesus, man. That is next level football IQ, but you don't see that because they don't highlight it. They just want the air raid Mahomes, deep Tyreek Hill pass, blah, blah, blah. And it's like, you know how cool football used to be? It used to look like this. That's pretty cool. But
yeah, I grew up watching Jordan. It's Jordan over LeBron 9 times out of 10.
Who do you think taught Kobe? It wasn't LeBron. It was fucking Michael Jordan.
Yeah, fucking Kobe.
I put Kobe over LeBron James.
I was going to say I took Kobe over LeBron too.
Yeah, we could do that all day long. But
the Vikings don't even do a good job of keeping their legends involved in the game on their own website. How come we don't have a video of John Randall breaking down film or talking about Dallas Turner? How come we don't have Fran Tarkenton talking about JJ McCarthy. Like, how come we don't have these legends? Randy Moss doing more stuff with the Vikings on the website. Like, how come this isn't a thing that we keep the old players involved in the game?
Now, I would love to see that kind of media, but I think Minnesota, the Vikings, they do a great job with their museum and keeping visits and keeping fans interacting with them without asking too much of their legends. So
I mean, we've all been to the stadium. They really do a good job of honoring the
murals and everything are amazing.
Oh, it really is.
I hate to get spirited and drop a couple of F-bombs here, but I can't. And I would do this for any team, like even the rivals. We talk about people are shitting on Aaron Donald on social media right now. Like, well, he wasn't that good. It's like,
oh, bullshit.
That is a generational talent at a crazy position, and he's undersized. You guys realize what you just watched for 10 years? He was so good. It's like I have no problem going back in any team. It doesn't matter, division rival, whatever. Like one of the greatest of all time, Reggie White. Craziest highlight I've seen of him is against the Vikings. It's like, hey, remember that time Reggie White used a wide receiver as a projectile into his own quarterback? That's the kind of stuff you need to look back and be like, how many times do you see that happening? Because I can only think of one other time I watched it personally, and it was John Randall just completely moving a dude backwards. And I'm like, oh, yeah, that's why I like him. That's cool.
Mm-hmm.
That's really sweet. That's a good point, Kyle. We need to do a better job of keeping that memory alive. And I understand the eras were different. Like, we have better athletes now, but we also have to respect the previous years of you could beat the living dog shit out of people, and that was just football. Like
Chris Carter in his prime would play and would dominate in the NFL today.
100%.
100%.
And let's take one from this generation and go back, and he would have been an alien. You could take Calvin Johnson and put him back in the league 25 years ago, and he would have been fucking awesome too.
Justin Jefferson in 1998 would have been Randy Moss. Like, NFL defenses would not have been able to stop Justin Jefferson in 98, just like they were not ready for Randy Moss.
Oh, I like that too. The only thing I don't like is Randy Moss a little taller. I don't like those slight frames that could have gotten messed up, but I understand what you're saying, man. Like when you see the talent is there, you're like, oh, that translates forever. I don't like doing the flash in the pan stuff. Like we're talking about LeBron is an all-time great. I'm not pooping on LeBron. He's just not Michael Jordan. But like people these days think the idea is, oh, well, we got to have Odell Beckham. Odell Beckham's good for like one highlight of like 2-minute catches. That's it. I want a guy that's consistent forever. I'm beating the drum.
All right, let's end with two questions here. The first one is, since we're on the LeBron kick.
Okay.
Will Bronny be a first-round pick?
Oh, God, no. He shouldn't even be picked.
There's 30 teams. I'll say yes just to go against the grain. Because
he shouldn't, but he probably will.
He shouldn't. Throwing away. Exactly.
And let's end up by talking about Ragnar here for a second. Which mascot do you think should be forgotten more? Ragnar or Vicodontus Rex?
We can get rid of Ragnar. That's fine. That ended.
I kind of liked Vicodontus Rex.
Yeah, I'm okay with that.
I can't
get mad at an actual I forget the name now. When you're in a costume.
Barney costume?
No, like the mascot. I can't get mad at an actual mascot, but when you have a dude that's riding around on a motorcycle, the idea was cool, but that whole thing he did where he was like in Green Bay and saying, well, that's like, okay, dude, well, you're dead to me now. You can just never come back. I can put whoever in a costume.
Justin might be onto something there. If a team drafts Bronny, they might get LeBron.
100%. He has no ties. Like at this point, he's just playing for records and wants to play with his son. He's not going to win another championship.
It's like Dwight on The Office. I am a loyal guy. If someone wants to pay me, loyal to them.
That's how I feel. That's why I got out of the military, baby. Who was the highest bidder? Let's go. Yeah, I put mine up here. I don't know what your guys' final thing was for the records, but we all see this team as a fringe playoff team, possibly. I don't think they're a playoff team, and I'm not upset with that. I do look forward to the growth of these young players and seeing what replacement players like Van Ginkel and drafting Dallas Turner and Grenard, all these. I love seeing what they're going to be. I've said it on the show 5 times today. I'll say it 6. I am very excited for Aaron Jones to be running back 1. But I don't think this is a Super Bowl or playoff team. If they squeak into the playoffs, it'll be an epic win for this team. I think that would be great for Kevin O'Connell to prove that he's a really good coach. And if we do, I think that means that Sam Darnold had a renaissance year. But let's be optimistic. I don't think that's going to happen.
Yeah, so while my internet was dying there, I gave half of the closeout, so I'll give it another whirl now. I do want to thank everyone who joined us in chat, and thank everyone for joining us when we weren't exactly talking all Vikings, but still. We'll be back in a week to talk more Vikings football. Hopefully we'll have some more news. And in the meantime, stay classy, Minnesota.